No Standing 8 Boxing Podcast. We discuss every organization and weight class. With your host, Bronx Bomber, educated with the craft. Punch a topic hard like heavyweights, hitting the bag. From the top rank to the upcoming, washed up to the dark horse. Champs, #1 contenders, quick jab or sharp cross. We source, come get it. Tuning in, you can have it. Internationally known, our information is valid. See, we on a higher plane, no two episodes the same. We get better as we train, so on top we remain. Come join the conversation, it's insight you'll gain. In and outside of the ring, we do the damn thing.
All right, fight fans, welcome to another edition of No Standing 8 Boxing Talk. I'm your host, the Bronx Bomber, and today I got a special guest with me on the show. His professional career, he amassed a record of 58 wins, 4 losses, and 38 KOs. To his credit, he is a 2-time world champion in 2 divisions. He battled some of the greatest fighters of his era and beat some of the greatest fighters of his era. He's a superstar, is all right. On appeared on shows like the Arsenio Hall show, had Mr. T in his corner during the Iran Barkley fight. I mean, for Mr. T to come out of your corner, you know you got to be the man at that time, right? So please give a warm welcome to Michael, second to the champ. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, Jake, man. I'm just sitting back chilling, man, relaxing a little bit, man. Looking forward to doing this interview with you.
Oh, I appreciate it. So, champ, listen, we're going to get into a lot of things. We'll do a full preview on you today, leading up to your induction into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, the Las Vegas Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame 2022 class. You're in there with some other great champions of your time. And listen, everybody's been following boxing knows exactly who you are. But just in case for the new generation, can you please tell folks a little bit about yourself, you know, your hometown, your family, your siblings, and eventually what led you to boxing?
Well, you know, as a kid growing up in Davenport, Iowa, you know, there was really no whole lot of stuff to do. And I'm running around with a bunch of little guys that was boxing. And they told me, hey, Mike, you need to come to the gym. So when I went to the gym, it was weird because when I got out of the gym, it was just, I done something I knew that I like to do. I never knew I liked to box until I got out there. But I'm very thankful for my friends to take me down to the Davenport Boxing Club. And, you know, I fell in love with the great sport of boxing. And look at me now.
Hey, listen, so anybody see you fight know that you are a master of the sweet science. I mean, you're just so slick and so beautiful in the ring. Is that something that was in you already as soon as you put on gloves, or that's something you developed over time?
Well, it was a natural trait. First time that my boxing trainer, a guy by the name of Alvino Pena, let him rest in peace. He was a local boxing trainer in the Quad Cities for over like 40, 50 years. And when he first seen me box at the age of 12, he's your future world champion. I don't know what it was. It was just, when I put on the gloves, it's just something I could do. And like I said, I didn't know I could do it. It's just something I done. I guess God blessed me with a tremendous talent, and I was able to utilize it.
Absolutely. So Davenport, Iowa. I did a little research, man. There's not many athletes that come from Davenport, Iowa. You maybe like Roger Craig, but those of us that never been to Davenport, Iowa, what was it like growing up over there?
Well, you know, the Midwestern town, about 160 miles away, I think west of Chicago. Davenport, Iowa is more of it's a laid-back area. I mean, you got a lot of good athletes come out of there, out of the state of Iowa. But, I mean, me and Roger Craig, we're probably the 2 biggest athletes to come out of Davenport, no doubt. I mean, Roger Craig is a 3-time Super Bowl winner. Then I'm a 2-time world boxing champion. So, you know, we come up together, even though he was older than me. Him and my brother went to school together, and we all grew up in pretty much the same neighborhood. I lived on the east side. He lived on the west side. But we all had a great relationship as kids growing up and stuff. And Roger, he inspired me by him being a great football player and me being a boxer, and wanted to put Davenport on the map, because I know a lot of times people used to laugh at me when I go to the big national tournaments. They mentioned Davenport, Iowa, and they'd be like, they'd be like calling Davenport Idaho. I said, no, it's not Idaho, it's Iowa. I said, they just both start with I. But they got to know Michael Nunn. He got a chance to make a name for himself, and they recognized me, and they recognized the Quad Cities as well. And the Quad Cities had some pretty good fighters. They had Antoine Echols.
That's right.
He was a former middleweight contender. He fought Bernard Hopkins in 2 fights. And got Leonard Overstreet. I had my cousin Mickey Bakes, let him rest in peace. He had Pat Pena, which was part of the Pena boxing family. We had a lot of good fighters. Lamont Lovelady, like the McGowan brothers, the Kirk brothers. I mean, we had a variety of good guys. They just never chose to turn pro and to make boxing a career like I chose to do.
Yeah, Antoine Echols. That's the name for the past, man. I tell you, I got a box of VHS in my attic right now, and I got Antoine Echols versus Bernard Hopkins, and I got you on tape versus John Scully. So,
Oh wow, that's cool. Well, John Scully's my man.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Yes, sir.
I interviewed John
Yeah.
Scully, a few months ago. He's good
Yeah,
people.
good guy, man. Super good guy.
Anyway, you're moving on with your boxing career. You had a prolific amateur career. Won a ton of tournaments, and tried out for the Olympics. Fell a little bit short when you went up against Frank Tate in your amateur career, and then you turned pro in December 12th of 1984. And correct me if I'm wrong with some of these dates. Sometimes the internet don't put out good information, but
I thought it was the 19th. You said the 12th. I thought it was the 19th, but I could be wrong.
Could have been 19th, but 1984, and you started to make your boxing. But 4 years later, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 years later, 30 fights into your career, you finally get a shot at the world title against Frank Tate for the IBF middleweight championship. What were your memories of that fight, and what did it mean to you to finally, after 30 fights, get a shot at the world title and win that world title?
Well, it was a crown achievement moment for me. And, I want to thank Dan Goosen and Bob Arum and my trainer, Joe Goosen, for, doing everything in their power to make the fight be able to happen. And then, take me to training camp and put me in such a great shape to be able to, overcome all odds and to beat the Olympic gold medalist and the IBF world middleweight champion, which is a dear friend of mine, Mr. Frank Tate. And it was a crown achievement for me and the Tin Goose Boxing Organization. And it was a good night, a big night, July 28th, 1988, at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. And it was just, it made my day because I'd always told my mother I was going to win a championship in Caesar's Palace. And I thank God for blessing me to be able to win a world championship at Caesar's Palace. Because as a kid growing up, watching Hagler, Leonard, Duran, Hearns, and Mr. Muhammad Ali, and all the legendary greats, Larry Holmes, perform in such immaculate arena. And then for me to be from Iowa, a little small hick town in the Midwest, to be able to say that I'm not only fighting for the world middleweight championship, but I'm going to win it. And I done it at Caesar's Palace on the Strip that night, and it was a crowning achievement for Michael Nunn, his family, the Tin Goose Boxing Organization, and all my fans, not just in the Quad Cities, but throughout the world.
And you did it against a former rival. I mean, it's fair to call him a rival. You faced him a few times prior to that point. I mean, what was that like? Did you have any nerves? Were you like, man, I got to face this guy?
Well,
they got the better of me a couple times. How was
well,
that?
No, I just wanted to go out and show him I was going to be the best man that night because me and Frank, we fought 3 times as amateur fighters, and he was up 2-1 on me. So I had to clear things up. And what greater time to be able to clear it up was July 28th, 1988, fighting for the IBF World Middleweight Championship. I got a chance to really rectify and straighten things out. And I wanted to, just go out and show I was a more superior fighter and a better fighter. And I went out and done what I had to do and become the world middleweight champion that night.
That's right, and that you did. And when you went on to defend that title 5 times. Now, listen, folks, I want to read this list. You don't see this often today. You just don't see it with these kind of fighters today. Wait till you read this defense list. Check this out. You defended your title, that middleweight title 5 times. Yes, Sambu Kabale, and you totally obliterated him in the first round. Got him out of there. You had the defense against Iran, the Blade Barkley, Marlon Starling, and Donald Curry. I mean, it don't get that's the top of the top of the top when it comes to that era of boxing at that time. What did you feel during that successful run defeating those guys? I mean, these guys are world class, athletes. I mean, you could have took any. What was it like, fight after fight, facing the very, very best?
Well, once we became world champion, Dan Goosen always told me that we wanted to fight the biggest and the best guys, and those were the biggest and best guys at that particular time, other than Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And we just wanted to always fight the best guys, and we never turned nobody down. Whenever Bob Arum wanted me to fight or whatever, Dan Goose would always oblige him and sign a contract and make it happen. And we want to be the best of the best. And in order to be the best of the best, you got to beat the best of the best. And you can never be considered a great fighter if you don't beat the great fighters in your era. And the only thing we wanted to do was just not only fight, we wanted to beat the best. And I'm just thankful for having such a great management team and a great trainer like Joe Goosen to help lead me in the right direction to get to where I needed to go. And we just want to fight and beat the best guys, Jacob. No disrespect toward nobody, no matter where they was from. We just want to test our skills with the best. And we was able to do that, and we done what we had to do.
Yeah, I'll tell you that was a whole different time. That's a whole different era. You hardly see those fights getting made today. For example, just a year ago, we probably had one of the best lightweight divisions in a long time, and none of those guys fought each other. Not one guy fought each other. Same thing was kind of happening in the welterweight division, and we having a hard time making these fights. What do you make of that? What do you make of that?
I really don't like it. I mean, I'm a firm believer. If you want to be the best in your division, go out there and prove it. The only way you prove it is by getting in the ring. I can't be in New York City and you be in California and another guy in Texas talking about he's the best in the world. Let's get in the ring and let's find out, because that's the only way it's going to be determined, by getting inside those four squares and doing it. And you don't got to worry about the fans, the promoters, nobody. You get in the ring and you straighten out what you need to straighten out. And I'm a firm believer. I'm old school, man. If I'm the baddest guy in the world, let me prove it. I don't want to, profess it and not prove it. If I profess it out of my mouth, I want to get in the ring and demonstrate it and prove it. That's just me. And I like to see all these young guys that are champions now, come together and fight, because that's what it's all about. It's not about how many wins you got or how many losses. It's about how great you really want to be. And you want to be great, you got to beat the best guys in your era. There's no duck and dodging. You got to fight who's ever out there. If you're the best, then I'm the best. Let's find out who the best by fighting, without all that conversation, all that talking, all that back and forth. Because I tell you what, you take the big end this time, I beat you. I got the big end. Let's make it happen. Let's wrap this thing up, man. Because fights can be made. That's all you got to do is make the fight, man. The money's there. There's no reason not for these great fighters to fight. Hey, come on and fight, man, and quit talking about it. The fans have been anticipating a lot of great fights the past few years, and we haven't seen it one time. Let's make it happen. I'm a firm believer in, hey, man, getting in the ring and proving it, not just talking about it. Prove it,
Man, y'all heard it. Y'all heard the former two-time division champ. All right, prove it. Get in the ring. The most important thing he just said, fights could be made. And that's exactly what you did. You did it time and time again, and you fought the best of your time. And that led you to stand out. That brought you a certain amount of fame. I can't think of many fighters that grace the couches of Arsenio Hall. I could think of maybe a few off the top of my head, and had celebrities in their corner. What was it like to be Michael Nunn at the peak of his career? How did fame change your life? What was it like during that moment in your time?
Well, I think I was always a pretty humble guy, but it was great having Hollywood celebrities, coming to the fights, watching me fight, having guys like Mr. T and people like that. It was great. Michael J. Fox, a lot of good guys come out and watch me fight. Matty Johnson, just a great honor by me, fighting out of, Los Angeles, California, which is one of the biggest, star celebrity cities in the country. So that helped also. It was just great having those guys come out and support me, man. And, it made me fight out of guys like Gene Hackman, what's his name? Michael J. Fox. Man, it was honorary. Victor French. It was crazy, man. Michael Landon. It was just a great honor, man. Mr. Jerry Buss, on the Los Angeles Lakers, he's another big fan of mine. And he'd always come out to the Little River City Country Club and watch me fight. And so that was very honorary. And he'd worked it out so that I could fight at the Forum, because I was up under the banner of Top Ranked Boxing, which is ran by Mr. Bob Arum. And Jerry Buss liked me so much that he told Bob Arum, hey, man, I want this kid to fight at the Forum. So that made me feel good for them to be able to, let me fight at the LA Forum, the home of the Lakers back in the day. So that was another crown achievement moment for me, to be able to fight in such a wonderful arena like the Los Angeles Forum, because a lot of big fights, a lot of championship fights, and it was always just great to be able to, grace those spots with great fighters came before me. Not only great boxers, but great basketball players. It was a big event, and a lot of things went on there. Some of the biggest performers in the world. I know Janet Jackson. I know she performed there, and a few other legendary greats. So, it's always an honor to be able to, perform at big spots.
When you first put on the gloves in little old Davenport, Iowa, when you first put on those gloves, did you think you could reach that pinnacle, that height of fame? Or you were just going through the motions and just fighting guy to guy to guy?
Well, believe it or not, when I was a young guy, really never realized how much talent I had. It took some older guys in the community, some family members, and some friends to kind of like keep me on the right track because I was just the average young guy, had a lot of energy, and I always had a belief system about myself that couldn't nobody my size beat me. That was just a mindset that was instilled in me from a young kid growing up in Davenport. I just felt like if you weigh 125 pounds, I weigh 125 pounds. You from St. Louis, I'm from Davenport. I'm gonna kick your behind. That was just always my motivation and my mindset. And like I say, I credit, more so, people on the outside that were looking in to seeing the talent that I had to help kind of like keep me on the right path to be able to, do the things I've done because I'm a typical young guy, just full of energy, love to fight, love to be about it. And, I just, I had some good people in my corner, kind of like led me in the right direction, and I was able to, become world champion.
That's right.
It took a lot of guys, not just, for my people, but, the Goosen organization, top rank, and, just had a lot of good people in my corner. I had my family, my friends, and my relatives and things. So, it's bigger than Michael Nunn, but I want to thank everybody that ever, helped me, reach this achievement because I didn't do it by myself. And I like to thank all my fans, my friends, my sparring partners, my promotional team, my management team. I want to, give thanks to everybody because it took teamwork to make this dream work. And I'm just thankful, man. And I'm ecstatic about, being put in the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. It's like, dream come true.
That's right. That's right. And continuing on with your career and you're riding that wave of fighting, you take on another tough challenge with James Toney. I'm sure that you went into that fight with the with the utmost confidence because you just done away with Barkley, Starling, and Curry, and what and you lost your title in that fight. That was your first professional loss.
Yeah, first professional loss. Yeah,
first professional loss. What was different that night? Because skill level, that wasn't the problem. Confidence wasn't a problem. What was different that fight?
It was really nothing. James was just a better fighter that night. Not to take nothing from him. He worked hard. He done what he had to do to be able to win. And like I said, I didn't make excuses then. And like 30-some years later, I won't make excuses. And like I say, James had to be one of my dear friends to this day. He was just the best man that night. I started off great, but I didn't finish great. And like Kobe said, you don't rest in between. You rest in the end. And he was just a better man that night. I got to give props. I got to give a man his props. He was just a better man that night. And I learned a lot from that fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't make excuses, but I never made middleweight again after that night. I was 35-0, and that was my last fight at middleweight. It was just time for me to, move up in weight. That's all it was, But not to take nothing away from James Toney that night. He was the best man that night, and that's all I'm gonna say because, like I said, I didn't make excuses then. I won't make excuses now. He's another legendary, great fighter, so I got to give a man his props. He was just a better man, but like I said, I couldn't make middleweight no more, and it was just time to move on. And I'm thankful to be able to fight. That means fights at middleweight and be undefeated and beat other guys that I fought. It's just time to just go up in weight. And the greatest joy was not only going up in weight, but becoming a world champion again. So that made me work even harder. When you lose, you get a chance to see what you really made of because anybody that goes undefeated, it's good when you go undefeated. What happens when you get knocked down? Can you respond? Can you come back? Can you redeem yourself? Can you, rise back to that level? And can you win another world championship? And I got a chance to test myself, and I learned a lot from that loss. So, yeah, but it was great.
I tell you, it's like you and I connected at the brain because you answered my very next question. My next question is going to be, was there ever talks of a rematch between you and Toney? And
no, never. Not to take nothing away from James, but I don't think James wanted to fight me again. I don't think, but you probably got to ask him. And but no, because if we'd have fought, it was going to have to be at a higher weight. It wasn't never going to be a middleweight again because that was it for me at 160. You know what I'm saying? I had been successful for 35 straight victories. I think with 23 knockouts, and it was great. It was just time for me to move on as far as the weight factor. But I'd have loved to fight him again. But if we'd have ever fought again, it would have been at a higher weight class. Yeah.
And you made your second title run at the next higher weight class, the super middleweight, almost immediately. A year later, you captured that title. How was that title run different than the title run at middleweight? Did you have difficulty adjusting to the weight? Were the opponents tougher? Did they hit harder? What was it? How was that title run different than your first title run?
Well, there's really no different than being in the middleweight division. It was just 7-8 pounds higher. You had bigger, stronger guys. and I fought a lot of tough opposition in 168. The middleweights was just as tough. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the middleweight division at that time was like one of the most premier divisions in the world. So not to take nothing away from the middleweights was one of the greatest classes we've seen. I mean, look at all the legendary middleweights that was in that division at that particular time. But the superweight guys was a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit harder. But it was a challenge because, like I said, I was a middleweight champion. Then I go up in weight, and guys figuring this guy's coming up middleweight, we're gonna show him what it's like to get up in weight. We hit hard or whatever. So you had to prove yourself, and I was able to prove myself. But like I said, I fought a bunch of incredible super middleweights. Matter of fact, the guy that I beat for the title, Victor Cordova, you
fought him twice.
Yeah, I fought him twice. But the first time was kind of controversial. And I told Don King and Angelo Dundee, I said, I want to run it back. They're like, you want to run it back? I said, yeah, because, I beat the guy, not to make no excuses. It was a real close fight. He was a champion. They gave me the split decision. But I told Victor Cordova, I said, look, let's mean you run it back. And they're like, well, you going to fight him again? I want to fight him again because I knew the second was much better than the first time. I think I went to training camp a little bit earlier and I focused a little bit harder because he was from South America and I didn't know too much about him, not to take nothing from him because he's a champion. And anytime you fight a champion, he's not going to pass. He's not going to just give you his belt. You have to earn it. And I just wanted to get a guy a fair shake because, the first fight was super close with the Thomas and Mack in Las Vegas. And a super close fight over 12 rounds. As a matter of fact, he knocked me down in the 10th round. And it kind of embarrassed me because, I had my family there and everything. He knocked me down, so I had to get up because I just lost to James Toney probably maybe a year or something before, and I could not afford to lose again. And so that motivated me to get up and not just get up, but to fight that much harder to overcome what I had to overcome was a knockdown and try to win the last 2 rounds. Because like I said, the fight was super close, but the second fight was hands down Michael Nunn. There was no shadow of a doubt.
And after that, you defended that title successfully quite a few times. I think it was about 5 or 6 times also. And then you ran into Steve Little. And as boxing fans look at that fight on paper, we think, Steve Little, do we underestimate him as fans? What was it like to share? Because you lost your title to Steve Little that night, a split decision loss.
Right.
What did we underestimate him as fans?
No, probably so. You got to understand, man, when it just goes to show when a man's in the ring fighting, you can't underestimate nobody, whether he's 112 pounds or he's 250 pounds. You got to give the man his props. I mean, the guy had done everything he could do to win the fight, and I can't, the judges seen that he won the fight. And like I said, I don't make excuses when it comes to fight, man. I mean, when I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. But hey, I thought it was, I thought I'd done enough to win, but unfortunately, I didn't. I'm not gonna cry with no wolf. I'm gonna just get back in the paint and continue to move on and move forward. It gets you nothing sitting around, talking about you should have won or whatever. Hey, the judges thought he won, so hey, it's okay.
That's right. I was doing the research, and at that point in your career, you were 31 years old, 31, right? About that time.
Right.
You're still young. You still had all your skills. You make another attempt to win a world title. You made 2 attempts, one against Frankie Lyles at middleweight, and then one at light heavyweight against Graziano Rochigani. I hope I pronounced it right. What changed? Why weren't you able to capture a 3rd world title?
Well, I really don't know, man. I mean, I guess the powers that be must have been against me because, when I fought Frankie, it was a real close fight, very close fight, and it was a super close fight. And I mean, I thought I'd done enough to win, and even when I fought Rachiani, I thought I'd done enough to win, and I want to thank the WC for giving me an honorary world light heavyweight championship belt because they felt like I won, but we over there in Germany, and Germans, went the other way, and I'm like, well, damn. I mean, I thought I'd done enough to win the fight. My trainer, Joe Goosen, tells me, hey, Mike, go out and collect your 3rd world championship. Then when the referee announces that Rachiani won, I'm looking like, what the hell going on here? But it goes to show, I'm very thankful for Mr. Jose Suleiman. When they reviewed the fight, and they like, the man didn't win the fight, which was crazy, but they gave him the fight. But, the WC was very honorary to give me the honorary lightweight WC belt. That's one belt I never had. I had the IBF belt. I had IBF middleweight championship. I had the WA super middleweight championship, and I had the elusive World Boxing Council light heavyweight championship. But what Mr. Jose Suleiman done, he left word with his son Mauricio when I came home from federal prison to give me an honorary light heavyweight championship belt. So I'm looking at the belt as I'm doing this interview, and that was the only belt I never had was a WC belt, and it took me to go to prison to get home to get the belt. Because I think I won the belt before I went. But that's just how things go. It goes to show that when God's with you, who could be against you? It was tragic, man. And I don't like to see bad decisions in boxing.
That's right.
I mean, I come as real as they come, and anybody know me will tell you the same thing. If somebody beat me, give them the fight. Don't rob me. Don't take nothing from me. I mean, make somebody earn it. And that's one fight that I know I didn't lose. I'm like, well, I go back to the corner, and my man Joe Goose tells me, go out there and collect your third scrap. I go out there, and they give this guy a split decision. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I beat the man hands down. But it made me feel real good being in Germany at the Max Schmeling Arena, and you got a partisan German crowd, and Raciani couldn't even come to the press conference. He's so beat up. He's so busted up and beat up. I mean, you win a fight, you the champion, you can't even come out and talk to the press. I'm sitting there, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, hey, man, only thing I want to do is get on a plane, come back to the United States, man. It was just, they don't even want to know what I was thinking that night, but it was just goes to show how things go, you know what I'm saying? And that's not to take nothing from the Germans, but I mean, Dan Goosen, let him rest in peace. He fought very valiantly, with the people over there, like, what the hell you guys doing? Y'all robbing, man? And I mean, broad daylight or whatever. But I'm just thankful for the WBC to done what they done. And that was the only belt I never had. And I got the belt. I'm looking at it, like I said, right now. It was just crazy, man. It's like, it puts a bitter taste in your mouth because I know I didn't lose the fight. And like I said, they filed protests and things like that. But I'm not about trying to sue no organization. I mean, you guys seen what happened. The world's seen what happened. So, hey, enough said, enough done. And hey, man, just do what you're supposed to do the right thing. And I'm very thankful for the WC doing the right thing. It's giving me the lightweight championship belt because I beat the guy fair. I don't want to give me nothing. Everything I got in the game, hey, man, I earned it. And this is the only belt that eluded me right here, right there. And like I said, I want to thank the Suleiman family and the WC for giving me this belt because I won it that night in Berlin, Germany. Unfortunately, it took me a long time to get it, but hey, they gave it to me, man. And this is the only belt I didn't have. Like I said, I had the International Boxing Federation middleweight championship. I had the World Boxing Association super middleweight championship. And then I thought I had the WC lightweight championship, but unfortunately, the judges went the other way and gave the fight to Raciani. But years later, look what I got. Man, God's been good to me. I got nothing to complain about. I collected all world championships, all the major organizations in the sport of boxing. So I've done my part, man. And I'm just thankful. And, I'm just, I'm going to keep it moving, man. I'm going to keep my head up and stay strong and be the soldier that I am.
That's right. That's awesome. Awesome that the WBC did that for you because you earned it that night. You definitely won that fight. And that is so cool. Look fast. You heard it, man. You heard it from the champ himself. You heard it at No Standing 8 Boxing Talk. You heard it at New York Fights. Michael Nunn is a 3-time world champion. I'm going to fix my notes. He's a 3-time world champion. And that's what led him. Those kind of fights, that kind of body count. That's what led him.
That's my motivation, baby.
It's a Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame this year. We're going to talk about it right now, champ. The Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. You're finally inducted. You're finally in. That takes place next Saturday. Take me back to that time you got that call. What were the emotions like?
Oh, the emotion was crazy, man. I was ecstatic, man. It made me feel great to know that after all these years and all the things I've done in the great state of Nevada, not only turning pro there, but winning 2 of my world championships there and, fighting $1 million fights there at the big exclusive hotels, at the Mirage Hotel and the Caesars Palace Hotel, 2 of the biggest hotels in the world at that particular time. And it just made me feel good to come to Las Vegas. And I know when me and Frank Tate got ready to fight, I looked up on the Caesars Palace thing and see me and Frank Tate. I'm like, wow, I'm a little small country boy from Iowa coming to Las Vegas and taking the city over. And that was my day. July 28th, a day will be forever locked in my mind, not just for me, my family, the Tin Goose Boxing Organization, all my fans from around the world, my friends, and all my supporters, man. It was just a great night that night, man. And hey, man, I mean, it's like some of a story tell. I mean, the stuff that I've done, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people didn't think it could be done. And I never listened to what other people say. And I always had a strong contingency of people around me, which was Dan Goose and my family, my mother, my brothers, sisters, and my uncles, and, my friends and people that supported me. And, I mean, I just never let nobody tell me what I couldn't do because, people just always say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you can't do it if you believe you can't do it. But I always had a real strong mindset to be able to overcome all odds and to be able to do what I do, man, because I've been thankful to have a real strong mindset, even to this day, Now that I don't box no more, I mean, my boxing days is over, but I mean, hey, I just always had a strong mindset, man. I had a belief system, and I thank God for blessing me and putting me in a position, and I thank the good people that He surrounded me to be around, and hey, man, I've been blessed. That's all I can say,
That's
Jacob.
right. So that's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. You definitely deserve to be in the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. Is there a particular fight that you think defined your legacy as a fighter, or was it a series of fight, or your whole body of work?
Well, I think a whole body of work. And I fought so many great fighters. I never knew I fought 8 world champions and knocked out 5 of them. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was fighting Jacob, I didn't care who I fought. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to have enough time to train, be able to go to training camp, prepare, and be able to test my skills with who I was going to fight. I just never knew I fought that many world champions. I mean, I didn't find out until about maybe 2 years ago. Mr. Randy Gordon, the former New York boxing commissioner, and Jerry Cooney, former light heavyweight contender in the 80s, they was doing a podcast one day, and they said, the champ, you fought like 8 world champions. And I said, no, I don't think it was that many. So they ran the names off, right? They said, you knocked out 5 of them. And I just never kept track in my mind how many world champions I fought. I just knew when I fought, I just wanted to win. I mean, that was, my number one goal was just get in the ring and fight and win. I didn't care where a guy was from, how many championships he had. I just wanted, if I fought him, I just wanted to beat him, no matter where he's from.
That's right. And 2 of them are International Boxing Hall of Famers.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, that's big.
Right. And it seemed like you fought everyone. Well, you did. It's not a seem. You fought everyone there was to fight in your career. Was there a particular fighter that you wanted to fight, but that fight, for whatever reason, never manifested itself?
Well, it never manifested. And that's the only thing I regret about boxing, that it never manifested. Because, Sugar Ray inspired me to be a world champion. And I just always wanted to just test my skills against the legendary Mr. Sugar Ray Leonard, and even Thomas Hearns and Roberto Duran. I just wanted to, they were legends, and I wanted to test my skills with them. And unfortunately, I never got the opportunity. I love those guys. They all motivated me to become a champion. Even the legendary, great, marvelous Marvin Hagler. You know what I'm saying? I just feel honored to be able to say that the belts that they had once upon a time that I was able to have. So it was just great, being in such a great era with such a history of great middleweights, and I just never got the chance to fight them. But that's my only regret in boxing. Everything else I did, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but that's the only thing I regret is not getting the opportunity to fight Sugar Ray or Thomas Hearns or Duran. And, Marvin Hagler, when I was a young guy coming up, I used to run with him over at the Sands Hotel across the street from Caesar's Palace. So I never wanted to, try to call Marvin Hagler out, because as I was a young guy coming up, we was up under the promotional banner of Top Rank Boxing. And as Marvin got older, I didn't, want to try to go, picking on him. That ain't cool. He's showing me different stuff. And now a couple years later, he gets older. Now young guy, running his mouth talking about, I want to fight Marvin Hagler. So I just always had admiration and respect for him, because he's the older of the bunch. But I wanted to fight Tommy and Sugar and Roberto Duran. And I think cut boxing short there. But I wish those fights could have transpired. And I just want to test my skills with those legendary great fighters, Not saying I would have beat them or lost them or whatever. I just want to see what I could have really done with them. I wanted to test my skills with them, because they were legendary fighters, and they're all great fighters. I take nothing from them. I love them all. I was just at Sugar Ray's house a few months ago, and I just talked to Tommy Hearns. Matter of fact, just yesterday, there's a friend of mine with another friend of mine, and we was talking boxing, and we was at a restaurant. And he said, hey, man, I like Sugar Ray and Hagler and Duran and this and that. He said, you know who I like? And I said, who you like? Man, I like Tommy Hitman Hearns. I said, man, since you like Tommy Hitman Hearns, I'm going to call Tommy Hearns. If he's not busy, he'll say hello to you. And I could have called Sugar Ray too, but I didn't want to bother Ray Leonard, but I called Tommy because he mentioned Tommy's name. So Tommy was nice enough to, get on the phone and give him a few minutes of his time and say hello, and, thank you for being a big supporter of Tommy Hitman Hearns. So that was beautiful. And so like cool. I say, when I see him now, I always tell him, I say, hey, man, why ain't y'all fight me, man? You know what I'm saying? So we jive with each other. It's all love. There's no discrepancy, no hate or nothing. It's genuine love. And I'm waiting to see the legendary Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran, because he's the only one I haven't seen. I've seen Sugar Ray. Like I say, Ray Leonard invited me to his house a few months ago, and then I talk to Tommy all the time. So, and then let Mr. Marvin Hagler rest in peace. Super champion, great champion. I mean, hey, so but I want to see Roberto Duran and say hello to him. Okay. Wish him all the best.
Awesome. That's so cool of you, and I'm glad you did that for that fan, man. I bet you his name.
Oh, no doubt about it. The guy's 67 years old, and I mean, I was just telling a friend of mine how people, when they meet people and how they act, and he's the type of guy, he lived in California for 67 years, and he's met 1,000 celebrities, You know what he told me? And I mean, no job. He said, I see celebrities all the time, but it's different. You guys are different because you guys are athletes, you're saying. So when we're not movie stars, whatever. And he wasn't stepping on them. He just like, man, you guys prove that you guys are the best because you guys become world champion. You did it one-on-one or whatever. And I told him I appreciate that, man. And he was really excited and really just overjoyed. He said, man, out of all my years of living, I've never seen nothing like this. And it made him feel good to be able to speak to Tommy Hearn. So thank you, Tommy, for getting on the phone and speaking and saying hello to Timmy yesterday. Thank you very much.
That's good stuff. So you're a 2-division champ. You fought. Your body count is deep, like you said. 8 world champions. You fought 8 world champions. 2 of them were inducted to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. You got that led you to be inducted to the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. Do you believe that you've done enough in your career to be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame?
No doubt about it, my man. Yes, sir. And I mean, I think I'm gonna get my phone call here soon, and I already put my body of work in, and there's no shadow of a doubt that I need to be in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and I'm sure that I'll be blessed to be there one day. That is my ultimate goal.
That's right. That's right. I believe you will too. I think you've done enough. Like I said, man, you fought the best of the best there was to fight in your time, and if there's a fight you could do all over again, if God, or destiny or what may have you, sent you back in time and gave you one fight from training camp to the final bell to do over again, what fight would that be?
Probably James Tony fight. That's only one. Because in my eyes, James is the only guy that really ever beat me. I think I had 60 professional fights. I think my record should be 61-1. But and there's 3 other losses plus the Tony loss. So, but I mean, in my mind and just in my heart, those other guys. I mean, they gave me a fight, but that's my belief system, and I never complained. But deep in my heart, James really only got to ever beat me out of 62 professional fights, fair and square. So, not to take nothing from nobody else. But like I said, that's where the judges seen it. And, that's where the ball bounces sometimes. Men don't cry over spilled milk. We just get back in the paint and make things happen. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, whenever I got beat, I come back even stronger.
That's right, champ. So what's retirement life been like, champ? What are you up to nowadays?
Man, I'm just kicking back, man. I'm looking to try to get me a commentating job. I love the great sport of boxing. They're going to let me off federal paper so I can move around and do things I want to do. So I've been, talking to a few people about maybe trying to, do me some commentating. I just want to work around the great sport of boxing. Going to work with some of the young kids and, give them the right direction and right tutelage and things of that nature. And, boxing made me, so I want to be around the great sport of boxing. Who knows? I might go work with one of the big promotional companies. I don't know. We'll see what God got in store for me. But I want to, definitely work around the great sport of boxing.
All right, champ. Well, look, champ, you have been a pleasure to talk to. You've had a wonderful career. Definitely live up to your name. Second to none. I mean, the track record that you have, I like to call it the body count you've accumulated throughout the boxing career.
It was definitely a body count.
It's second to none. Champ, you have the last word for the fans. What you want to tell your fans?
Hey, man, I just want to thank everybody, man. And I want to thank you guys for all the support you give me over the years. For you young guys and young gals out there who don't know Michael Second to None, what you need to do is go on Google or YouTube and check me out, you guys. Peace.
All right, champ. All right, well, that concludes our interview. Thanks, champ. Thanks on behalf of the other fights. On behalf of No Stand 8 Boxing Talk, we congratulate you on your induction into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. We'll talk to you soon, champ.
Thank you very much.
No Standing 8 Boxing Podcast.